I am normally talking in front of large crowds, but not particularly about this subject that's very personal to me. So I am going to go by script, so bear with me. As a mother of 4 sons, very little had scared me. A glass breaking, hearing things or bodies banging against the wall, play wrestling matches that turn into full-fledged fistfights, or watching your son get hurt on the sporting field. It's all part of the gig. Boys are going to break bones, get stitches, and have the occasional black eye. Boys wear them all so proudly. As a mom, I have perfected the kiss of the boo-boo to make everything all better. When my son Gabriel was diagnosed with ocular melanoma, it was terrifying. The kiss on the boo-boo was not something that would cure this cancer. I'd never been so frightened in my entire life. In March of 2016, my son Gabriel and I went to our local Walmart for our annual eye exam. Our old eye doctor had retired a few years before, and my friend had recommended the doctor at our local Walmart. Our contacts were running low, or I might have forgotten to even make the appointment. I don't like having my eyes dilated. Back then, I felt it was really for older people who had cataracts or glaucoma. The odds of me having one of those diseases were pretty slim. Why would I want to walk around for the next couple of hours squinting from the light or not being able to read my phone? And if you think I don't want to do it, my 16-year-old son really does not want to have his eyes dilated. Because if my odds were low, then his were slim to none that there would be anything wrong with his eyes. But being the natural-born rule followers that we are, we get our eyes dilated because we always follow the doctor's orders. We were placed in separate rooms for our exam, and we were to meet back at the receptionist. I finished quickly and have been waiting for Gabe to come out of the room. While waiting, I took the time to browse through the frame area. It's my favorite part of going to the eye doctors to help pick out frames for Gabe, and I know what styles he likes, so I thought I would get an early start. Gabe was taking a bit longer than normal, and he was finally walking out of the room and towards me. I was juggling the frames in my hand as if I had worked at a circus, and I was about to show him my 3 favorite frames for him. And then he said, "Mom, Dr. Lynch thinks I have a freckle in my eye." That sentence started our journey with ocular melanoma. Why is it our journey and not just Gabriel's? Anyone who has a child will understand that seeing your child unhappy or facing physical challenges is more difficult to experience than if they were actually happening to us. I often wish that I could pluck that darn tumor out of his eye and place it in my own. Dr. Lynch showed me the freckle on his computer screen. "Dude, that is not a freckle," was my response. I proceeded to take a photo of the screen, and Dr. Lynch said at the time that the odds of it being anything but a freckle were so small that he didn't want me to worry a bit about it. We were instructed to get an ultrasound, and it was scheduled for Good Friday, which was a week later. During that week, every time I looked at my phone to look at a different photo, I would see that freckle picture, and I would instantly get a knot in my stomach. Call it mother's intuition, but it happened every time I looked at it. As soon as the knot came, I would then quickly try to forget about it, telling myself that I was just being paranoid. Gabriel was born on Good Friday, so every Good Friday I think of the day of his birth. Between the hours of 12 and 3, while most Catholics are supposed to meditate and be quiet, I was bringing into the world a 10-pound baby boy. You can imagine there was not a lot of quiet in that room that day. We were all in awe of this beautiful, beautiful baby boy. Gabriel is very Italian looking, and every time he cried for the first 3 years of his life, a birthmark in the shape of the map of Italy appeared on his forehead. I always joke that even though he was made in America, his parts were from Italy. So since Good Friday has always been so special to our family, it's always been such a good day. This appointment was just a thing to check off the list of events of the day. After the ultrasound, we were going to get Gabriel fitted for a tuxedo for his upcoming junior prom. Once the doctor looked into his eye with that big black headlight, the appointment took on a serious tone. We were not only going to do an ultrasound, but now we would need an angiogram of the eye. "This is not a freckle," I asked the doctor. "No, Mrs. Roy, this is not a freckle." And that is the moment I knew that this was not a boo-boo that could be easily kissed away. Sorry. My child has ocular melanoma. But this is a disease of someone who is in their mid-60s or 50s with blue eyes, not someone just a week shy of their 17th birthday with deep brown eyes. We were told that in the past 40 years, Gabriel was only the 4th person to be treated for this cancer at Mass Eye and Ear Hospital in Boston. What are the odds of that? Unfortunately, my family was familiar with the disease, as my sister-in-law's mother, who had lived out of state, had just learned that her ocular melanoma had spread to her liver. There is no blood relation, but we had watched what this cancer could do, and it made the shock so much greater. She has since passed away after a brave, brave, hard fight. Since this journey began 2 years ago, Gabriel has maintained a positive attitude. He has never complained about one test, one needle, one thing. He has said that if all this cancer takes is the sight in one eye, he will be blessed. And he also says that everyone has stuff, and this is just his stuff. This is Gabriel's journey down the ocular melanoma road, and we have him lead the way. Between scans, we live our lives as normally as possible, and early on, Gabe made a pact with me that I would be his health partner. I would do all the research, keep the binder organized, and keep up with the latest breakthroughs and get involved in any way I knew that I could be helpful. All the time promising to always be honest and open with him. His wish is to live and not let ocular melanoma get in his way of enjoying this very special time in his life. This partnership works right now, and I recognize that as he comes into adulthood, it will change, and I will hand him the reins. It will be difficult, but I will do it because I respect and love him so much that I will do that for him. Shortly after being diagnosed for Mother's Day, Gabe bought me a plaque that reads, "Today is a good day." Along with the plaque, he wrote me a beautiful note about how grateful he was that I was his mom, and that he wanted me to look at the plaque and know that every day is a wonderful day. He really is such a special, special young man, and I can't believe how lucky I am that he is my son. It remains the best gift that I have ever received. It gave me the best tool to bring with us as we travel the road of ocular melanoma. Each day I look at and say, yes, today is a good day. And as a mom, it doesn't mean that I do not have times of worry or terror. We do not know what Gabe's class is. Because of his age and the tumor location, they did not biopsy his tumor. We know that each time Gabe has his liver scanned, there is a 50% chance that it will not go well. But we choose to concentrate on the fact that there is a 50% chance that all will be well, and so it will. Our natural instinct as humans is to protect our children. There is an inner drive deep within me that will do whatever I can to help my child to survive. Shortly after Gabe was diagnosed, I was researching other cases of young people who had contracted ocular melanoma and found Dr. Greg Strack's story. His story led me to the CureOM website. When I found the CureOM website, it was as though church bells began ringing. It was such a wealth of information. I read all of the articles, pages and blogs. I watched hours of the previous year's symposiums. It was like a one-stop shop for knowledge. In my experience with ocular melanoma, knowledge is power, and so CureOM helped me at a time that I felt so powerless. By learning more about the disease and attending these symposiums, it has allowed me to feel more powerful. Meeting others who have ocular melanoma and hearing their stories is such an absolute gift for me. I am not a patient, but I have wished that it were me facing this beast every day and not my son. In the area of research, I have seen a significant progress made over just the past 2 years. Besides being an amazing source of information, the Cure-OM initiative to create a patient registry will be a major achievement towards finding a cure. The patient registry will be an amazing, oh, I just said that. It is my belief that once the cause is known, the cure will come quickly. I know that the why my son has ocular melanoma has been important to me. As you all know, this cancer is not only rare among adults, but truly rare among teenagers. Our family did genetic testing to see if Gabe carries the BAP1 gene or any other known markings that would affect the likelihood of him developing this cancer. At last year's symposium, I learned about a genetic mutation that is present in patients that had early cell basal melanoma, renal cancer, and ocular melanoma. My husband had had early basal cell melanoma. My father-in-law is a renal cancer survivor, and Gabe had ocular melanoma. I had hit the triple trifecta, and I thought I had finally solved the why. But we didn't. Gabe did not carry that mutation. We also learned a month after Gabe was diagnosed that Mary, the woman who lived in our home prior to us, died from ocular melanoma. We had moved there when Gabe was 6 months old. Her family sold the house to us shortly after she had passed. This information totally blew me away. Is it something in my house that may have caused this cancer? I have 3 other sons living at home. Are they now at risk of developing this cancer? I then started to focus my research on the Huntersville cluster and now the Auburn University cluster, reading all of the reports and updates. I even wanted to have an environmental study completed on my own home. I am a selectman in my community, and our health agent, who is a good friend of mine, talked me out of it for now. I live 2 doors from our town hall and across the street from our elementary school, and our health agent felt that there would be more cases if it were environmental because so many people populated the area on a daily basis. And Mary had died 17 years before Gabe was diagnosed. I just don't know. I don't think any of us will know. And until we know the why, I will always wonder. And I am quite sure that most of you in this room have your own theories as to the why. And the patient registry is so important and will finally bring us closer to our collective why. The Cure-OM I Get Dilated campaign reminds others of the importance of making sure that they visit an eye doctor on an annual basis to have their eyes dilated regardless if they wear eyeglasses. Gabe was diagnosed because he had his eyes dilated. We may not have found it until the tumor was so large that it would have been a more complicated situation to treat. My other sons that don't wear eyeglasses did not get their eyes dilated on an annual basis, but they do now, as well as all of our friends, family, and coworkers. By bringing attention to this very rare disease, it will reach others who have never heard of it. And this campaign may save a life, and we are grateful to the Melanoma Foundation for their support for this campaign. As I said earlier, I believe that knowledge is power, and the Cure-OM organization gives us all of that. Power is such a better word than powerless. Speaking of good words, one of my all-time favorite words is grateful. Every day I spend time remembering the things in my life that I am grateful for. And Gabriel being diagnosed with ocular melanoma did not change this lifetime practice for me. My son has a rare cancer. What could I possibly be grateful for? I will tell you as soon as I get myself together. Okay. I am grateful for my son, Gabriel Joseph Roy, for the remarkable, strong human being that he is. I am so grateful that he is my son and that I get to watch this young man conquer the world. I am so very, very grateful that his liver remains with no evidence of disease. I am grateful that he is a college student studying biomedical engineering. I am grateful for Sarah Seelig and Greg Strax for creating Cure-OM. We would not be in this room if it weren't for their dedication. Although bad things happen to good people, it's the good things that we do with the bad that leaves the mark on the world and changes lives forever. I am grateful for the doctors and scientists that work tirelessly every day to help find a cure. And I am grateful for all the drug companies that, despite the small number of patients, still want to help develop treatments to help battle this disease. I am grateful for the wonderful people that we have met along this ocular melanoma road. I am grateful for the hope that I feel that a cure will be found. And I am grateful that even in the scariest moments during this journey, 90% of the time, I keep my faith that this is only happening for a good reason and it can only have a happy ending. And the other 10%, you will find me hidden on my bathroom floor in a fetal position. And for that, I am grateful for tissue and for eye concealer. And I am grateful for all of you for being here at this symposium, learning and supporting your fellow OMI homies. I love that term. I first heard that from Anne Marie last year, the OMI homies, and I love all of you OMI homies. You are all my children. I know that ocular melanoma is a very scary road to travel, and this cancer is a real beast. It really is such an awful beast. But we all have to believe that a cure will be found soon, and it will crush this beast so that it never touches another family again. And so I will end by saying, as we travel this ocular melanoma road, for Gabe, knowledge and a positive attitude are the most important tools for him to carry. Google Maps doesn't show it yet, but they're building a road, an exit off this road, and it's called Cure, my new favorite word. And I can see the exit sign ahead, and I have my blinker on, because today is a good day to find a cure. Thank you.